RMSO, Bigfoot in national news all month long. Exciting month for Bigfoot. Videos and amazing encounters with this elusive giant referred to as Sasquatch or Bigfoot has been captivating the public in the national news all month. I will provide link sources to all of these in the description of this video as I go through this month in Bigfoot. Wyman Smith from Washington sends us game camera photo of one of several Bigfoot he keeps seeing on his property. One of the creatures, he claims, is missing an eye. It's the first that he spotted, and it was ripping up a juniper tree. It was also stomping the ground and clawing at the ground with its toes. The landowner, Wyman Smith, believes it was a territorial display and is worried the Bigfoot is trying to drive him off his property. Not only did Wyman send us photos of the Bigfoot, he sent us photos of Bigfoot activity on and near his property. Here's an inverted tree, and he zooms in on it. You can see the roots at the top, and it's stabbed down in the ground. A lot say that's Bigfoot activity. Here is a photo. The Bigfoot is that red post off to the left. Here's a control photo without the Bigfoot that a goat sprung, and then here's the juniper tree area that he claims the Bigfoot was ripping up there high in the branches, marking its territory, and then scraping on the ground with its feet, stomping and scraping. These are the photos that he showed of that. Well, I hope you get your Bigfoot problem under control if that's what's harassing you and your property, Wyman. Thanks for sending us the photos and telling us your story. The next big story comes out of the Moscow area in Russia. A Bigfoot or a Yeti crossed the highway near the Moscow region of Russia, causing a traffic accident. It was filmed by Elizaveta Urbanovich, who was injured in the traffic accident. She says you can actually notice a mysterious creature running away from the road through the forest. Here is a screenshot of the Russian Yeti from a video that was provided. The link to that video will be in the description of it running through the woods after they filmed it leaving the scene of the accident. This next video has captivated the nation all month long. It's been in the national news, Fox News, Coast to Coast AM, other national news and radio shows. We did our own investigation of the Provo Bigfoot video. Only 2 days after the video was posted, we found 17-inch long Bigfoot-shaped tracks and some 14-inch long Bigfoot-shaped tracks. A large boulder was also yanked out of the ground. Does it make sense for a Bigfoot or a person to spend the time and effort to pull a 200-pound rock out of the ground? We also found one spot where there were some human tracks near the Bigfoot film location, size 8 men's boots. Don't know the story of when or why that was there. Look at this hole in the ground. It pulled this rock up after it snowed whoever the last time. The little bit of snow that's in there is wind-blown snow. It didn't snow right here after the rock has been pulled up, and you can still see insect marks and stuff in there that would weather away very quickly, so it's rather odd. Here's one of the screenshots of that video. We'll provide the video in the description of this video, the original one that was on Reddit. Here's me in the same location as the Bigfoot in a size comparison, and then here's the 17-inch tracks again. We also found a second Bigfoot in the video that nobody gets very excited about, but when you watch the second half of the video, that boulder above the house, up to the right top, was where the other Bigfoot everybody makes a lot of commotion about, but down there lower on the mountain, you go watch that video, you'll see that Bigfoot moving around on top of that boulder. Here's the 17-inch tracks again. So it's kind of unfortunate that I found a small size 8 man tracks up near where the Bigfoot was found. I also found this 17-inch track and also found 14-inch tracks. So, you know, I can't rule out that someone was up there messing around because I found those tracks, but these Bigfoot shaped tracks look pretty compelling. Pretty neat stuff. So the Provo Bigfoot video was just crazy. The news went crazy with it. And we're going to bring you one more news story that has captivated the United States this month and Bigfoot may have saved a little boy. This has been very captivating all over the news. 3-year-old toddler Casey Hathaway was found alive, missing for 3 days in the frigid woods of North Carolina. According to the Craven County Sheriff, Chip Hughes, the boy claimed he spent 2 days hanging out with the bear. The 3 days this boy was missing have been the coldest days in North Carolina since 2012. So cold, lake and pond surfaces have been freezing over. During the worst part of winter and the coldest winter in North Carolina since 2012, shouldn't this bear be hibernating? Some say that it may have been a Bigfoot that cared for this boy and kept him from freezing to death until he could be rescued. Many stories of Bigfoot coming to the aid of missing children. Here is an incident of a lost child being helped by Bigfoot at the Minnetonka Cave.
A few summers ago, while my family and I were camping in St. Charles Canyon on the Idaho side of Bear Lake, a little boy got lost for a while his family was visiting Minnetonka Cave. We were coming out of the cave, and we heard a group of adults talking, and we offered to help look for the boy. Some of the group went off towards the campgrounds, and my group, along with the father of the child, hiked up and over the backside of the cave. There were a lot of game trails. The kid was missing no more than 10 to 15 minutes. We would yell his name and then listen for any sound. Well, after yelling his name again, we heard a whistle, long and loud, sort of like holding a note for at least a 10-second count. So we headed in the direction of where it came from, and when we came around the batch of trees, there was the kid, sitting on a rock, smiling and acting like a kid. His father grabbed him and comforted him, and as we were walking back, the father asked him where he got his whistle from. And the kid was like, "I didn't have a whistle. The big hairy man whistled for me." And that is all he said, and the dad blew it off as his kid's imagination. But I knew better. I knew for a fact that we heard a whistle from a Bigfoot. How else could he explain hearing a whistle and then go in the direction of it and find the kid? I went back a few hours later and looked for signs. There were no prints, but it was eerily quiet in the area. No bird sounds or anything.
St. Charles, Idaho is just under 9 miles from the Utah border. St. Charles Canyon connects within the Franklin Basin drainage, where there have also been sighting reports. They start to all make sense and connect with the physical characteristic of the landscape when you start to look at the points on the map. Until Justin Judd Phelps, resident of St. Charles, Idaho, disclosed his 1972 sightings, the Bigfoot phenomenon had not been reported outside of the Pacific Northwest. Phelps, a lineman engineer on the Union Pacific Railroad, claims to have seen the creature in the depths of the canyon near St. Charles on January 2, 1972. The Bigfoot's tracks were similar to a bear's but slimmer and about a size 13 in length. They sunk in about a foot into the snow. Each time the creature was sighted, it stamped its feet and shook its head like a child in anger. A tree that measured 9 feet tall near where the creature was saw put the creature at about 6 feet tall in comparison. In hopes of catching a glimpse of the creature again, on January 2, 1972, Phelps left his St. Charles home on a snow machine and arrived at the place of his previous sighting around noon. It was bitter cold, so he built a fire. He had been there about 2 hours, and the fire was getting hot, so he decided to put a little snow on the fire, and then he got the feeling he was being watched. It was between 1:30 and 2 p.m. He looked up from where he had been resting, stretching on his snow machine, and saw just 100 yards away an ape-like creature with grayish-brown hair returning his gaze. It was standing by a young pine tree, and when it saw Phelps look his way, It waved its arms and stomped its feet and headed for the deeper woods. The first time Phelps saw the creature, it frightened him and he fired above its head. This time, however, he spoke soothingly to it and attempted to take its picture. When he pulled the self-developing Polaroid film from the camera, there was no figure on the scene. Possibly because he had an older model camera and his hands had been shaking while attempting to capture the creature on film. Upon investigating the spot where he had seen the creature, he found tracks, which had sunk in about a foot into the loose snow. The snow at the site was 6 to 8 feet deep, about 2 feet being new snow. He did not follow the trail. This final Bigfoot sighting report that we're going to go over in this general area was submitted by witness Alan Meyer on Friday, December 26, 1997. Two campers' night observation of large creatures near their campground. The Bigfoot sighting happened in the summer of 1968 in St. Charles Canyon. A dark humanoid form was observed standing in the woods just outside the campground clearing. 4 of us were camping in sleeping bags, no tents, in a clearing recently cut by the Forest Service to develop a campground. No one else in the area. It was in the early morning hours, perhaps 3 a.m. My best friend and I had been talking about the strange atmosphere of the place and our wives were asleep. I was just dozing off when suddenly I felt myself jarred awake by a powerful feeling of a nearby presence watching us. I sat bolt upright and looked directly at a large humanoid. The form was standing at the edge of the woods, about 100 feet away. Whatever it was totally black. I could see no features, but the form was so perfectly clear. At this point my friend sat and looked in the same direction. "Do you see what I see?" I asked him. "I sure do," he replied. We continued staring at it, and it at us for several minutes. Then somehow we got the message that it wasn't going to bother us if we didn't bother it. I told my friend we should just lie down and go to sleep. He agreed, and this may have been the strangest part. We both fell asleep instantly. At that time I never heard of Bigfoot. I don't know what this being was and still don't. It could have been a Bigfoot. There are a lot of limestone caverns in the area, and it was still very wild back then. We didn't smell anything or hear any unusual sounds. Although this has multiple fully developed campgrounds and paved road, now, in 1967 it was very wild and very little visited. Even in the daylight, there was something primitive and haunting about this place, quite different in feeling from the other camps in the area. Well, there you go. There's a history of Bigfoot sightings in the area. The latest one is the end of May 2017, and then we got Bigfoot sightings that stretch clear back to 1968 in the area. A Bigfoot sighting hotspot, a lot of Bigfoot sightings. These are just 4 of a couple of dozen that are in the general area. I hope you enjoyed. We're going to keep looking around for Bigfoot in this area. We'll continue to watch. I hope you guys come along on some of our Bigfoot expeditions into the area and listen to the other sighting reports that come out of the area. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.